Welcome to Basically Sci-Fi, the short story podcast with stories you can basically call sci-fi. My name's Todd.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jared.
And I've tried asking people a few times this week, but nobody gave me a satisfactory answer. But have you guys ever seen a movie or played a game or read a book where before starting the story, you know that the character's gonna die in the end?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think God of War is like that.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Okay.
No? God of War 2. Anyway.
There's a God of War coming out, so no, he doesn't die. He doesn't die at the end.
I was going to say, aren't there like 5 of those games?
Yeah.
Kratos has been the main character in all of them. And that's the extent of my knowledge of that series.
I thought he gets better.
Yeah.
After dying.
Well, he does go to heck and come back at some point. That's true. But no, I mean like dead, not coming back.
Wait, do they actually call it heck in the game? Because I really hope they do.
No, but I was playing Earthworm Jim, and they call it heck.
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim does not die in the end either.
Wasn't there a movie called, like, Someone Dies at the End? Yeah, it was called John Dies at the End.
Oh, I don't know. How was that?
I never saw it.
Well, I played a Final Fantasy game back in the day, which is a spin-off game where one of the characters who literally dies in 7 gets his own game.
Yeah.
And so, I played it and I was like, fuck, I love this guy. I hope he pulls through. And then in the end, no, he doesn't, because the same thing happens that was going to happen and you can't change it. But even then, I was still so happy, And then I had the same feeling watching The Passion.
Of the Christ?
Oh, jeez.
I hope Mel Gibson pulls through.
He doesn't play anyway. No, but yeah, we all know what's going to happen in the end. But I kept thinking, like, oh man, I like this character. I really hope he somehow avoids his fate this time.
That's just how typically our narrative structures work. So it always comes as a surprise when it happens, even though you know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're used to seeing or reading or whatever, enjoying a certain narrative where the hero usually pulls through in the end, and then sometimes it gets flipped on its head.
Yeah. Anyway, I've got a story, and people on YouTube are going to see the title already. Yeah. This story is called Rupert Dies in the End.
Well, he was a pervert, so, well, maybe he gets what's coming to him.
There's only one way for him to die. I'm excited to read it, hear it.
There's multiple ways, but I already said in the last episode of, the Ares saga, I already said how he died in one of those, like, 1-paragraph blurbs that I had.
Yeah, I remember that.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rupert dies in the end. Mr. President, we'll be landing soon, the Rockman Secret Service agent said as they handed the president his protective garment. Thank you, Dolomite, President-elect Rupert the pervert said with a yawn. He then got up.
Is that a Dolomite reference?
It's a type of rock. It's a type
of rock.
Yeah.
Is Dolomite his name and is fucking up motherfuckers his game now?
I was very excited to find out that it was a type of rock.
It's a very hard kind of rock as well.
He then got up, stretched, and proceeded to put on the garment. A long, pure white robe, strategically lined on the inside with sandpaper to ensure that the wearer is always uncomfortable. While an unfortunate necessity, Spermartian elites were used to such precautionary measures. Spermartian males are potentially immortal and do not age once they've reached adulthood, while female Spermartians will age slowly and pass away over the course of 200 years. Males will only die if wounded through violence, accidental or intentional. Spermartians will also die if made to ejaculate, accidentally or not. The rockmen, who lack a warm touch, are often employed as bodyguards for those who can afford them, but even Spermartian males of humble means could often be seen wearing their sandpaper robes to avoid succumbing to pleasurable feelings. Spermartians had been one of the first species to achieve space travel, and have always been among the most technologically advanced. However, due to having an incredibly low birth rate, colonization efforts never proved successful. Thus, Spermartians had nowhere near as much influence as the humans of Earth, and New Earth 2, who spread their own forms of technology to most of the other species. Ever since the appearance of the Dark Lord Edeth and the foundation of the Galactic Society of Friends, the universe has become more unified than ever, with Spermartians finally poised to take a greater role in intergalactic politics. This would prove to be a crucial moment in Spermartian history, as well as for their young president. As the president's private space shuttle, the Sperm Force 1, entered the atmosphere of Sperm Mars, Rupert looked out over the pure white concrete landscape, dotted here and there with pink and blue blocks. Dolomite, you said we'd be landing soon. Do I have enough time to use the restroom? Of course, Mr. President. Take your time. Even after landing, there will be some time before the inauguration ceremony, Dolomite said. Oh, and Dolomite, can you cut the whole Mr. President thing? I haven't been inaugurated yet. And how long have we known each other? Call me Rupert. While on the clock, I will continue to address you as Mr. President, Mr. President. Oh, sure. Though I hope you know that I am honored to also call you friend. Thanks, Dolomite, Rupert said with a smile. Years spent at the Galactic Society of Friends made Rupert forget how popular he'd been on his home world. It's important to venture outside your comfort zone sometimes, though, Rupert thought to himself as he pissed, drawing circles around the bowl. But new experiences aren't so important that you lose your sense of self. Everyone at the Galactic Society of Friends had called him Rupert the Pervert. So much so that even he believed he was a pervert. Rupert carefully tucked his massive dong back into his pants and zipped up. He exited the restroom, where Dolomite stood waiting for him. I suppose it's off to the inauguration ceremony then? Rupert asked. No, preparations are still being made. The ceremony will be held after lunch. Okay then. I will summon the cabinet. If there's time, it should be used productively. Yes, Mr. President. The two exited the craft and descended to the runway of Spermarvin Memorial Interplanetary Spaceport. Deafening cheers welcomed Rupert home. From behind a laser security fence and a row of Rockmen Secret Service, thousands of Spermartian women and girls shoved and wrestled with each other for a chance to glimpse their beloved president. Waiting outside the Sperm Force 1 was the Spermartian Vice President, Marcia Diddles, with an entourage of Spermartian soldiers. She mouthed something, but Rupert couldn't hear her over the crowd of screaming women. She gestured for Rupert to follow. There were sufficient security in place around the spaceport, but Rupert was nonetheless frightened seeing such a large crowd of women, some of whom carried signs saying, I voted for you, so give me the D. It's disgusting how just because a woman does something nice for a man, she expects sexual favors, Rupert found himself thinking. He shook his head and reminded himself that not all women are like that. His own vice president, who was a few mere feet away from him, and all the Spermartian soldiers who dedicated themselves to his protection weren't like that. However, he watched Martha's hips sway as she walked in front of him, and he found himself wondering if she had ever killed before. She was a middle-aged woman of 108, but she had no children and expressed no such desire for any. When they were finally indoors, Martha turned to Rupert and said, Welcome home, Rupert. It hasn't been the same here without you. Thanks, Martha. I'd like to call a meeting with the cabinet before lunch. Right to business. You haven't changed at all. The Society of Friends was lucky to have you. Yeah, I guess. The spaceport was a short hovercar ride away from the Capitol building, so it wasn't long before Rupert and his cabinet were assembled around the table in the cabinet room. As he'd guessed, there was much work to be done to make up for time lost while he'd interned at the Society. The Secretary of Education and Gross Kid Stuff was the first to speak. Mr. President, have you been made aware of the disturbing trend among Spermartian boys called edging?
Oh, God.
Oh my God, are you serious? Rupert gasped. So far this month, there have been 3 deaths in the capital alone. An informational campaign is being devised and will be shown in schools starting next week. Oh, Rupert said, disgusted. Well, it sounds like you have the situation under control. Besides, this isn't the first time, even in recent memory, that this has happened. That's the problem with edging. Every time we put the matter down, it pops up again, even stronger than before, until it blows up in our face.
That's
The next to speak was the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security and Video Games. Mr. President, recently I've received several complaints from leaders in the Spermartian tourism industry, apparently designating some locations as male or female only by painting the streets pink or blue is interpreted as sexist by foreign visitors. I believe that before I left, there was an information campaign being planned to spread awareness of Spermartian biology. Last I'd heard, we had only to translate into Rockmanese and Grey Mother Tongue. The problem is lack of awareness. If I can interrupt, said the Secretary of the Planetary Communications and Carbonated Beverages Commission. Go for it. I don't believe an informational campaign is going to cut it. The assemblage collectively gasped. That's literally your one job, Vice President Martha said. That and cola production. What were you thinking, if not an information campaign? Rupert asked. Basically, an information campaign, but more effective. I like the sound of that, said the new chairman of the Department of Poetry and Karate, who may as well be speaking for everyone, since they were all very fond of how informational campaigns could basically push responsibility onto the people of the planet without having to pass any significant legislation. That is, maybe they set up an understaffed hotline, but in the end they can just throw their hands up and say, mental illness! Tell me about this more effective informational campaign, Rupert said, putting his elbows on the table and a contemplative look on his face. We use interneural communication. Someone escort the beverages secretary home. He's lost his fucking mind, Martha cried. That tech is illegal, and I shouldn't have to explain to you why. Assuming you've had a grade school education or seen a space goddamn movie. How many of those goddamn Rexus Quinn movies have been made about the Zillions Crusade at this point? 6. 3, 4, and 5 definitely felt lacking in direction, but the most recent one was really good, and I'm actually looking forward to 7. The Poetry and Karate chairman said, which left Rupert ashamed that he had at one point held the same position. Please, can I finish my suggestion before you all gang up on me? The communications secretary continued. A one-time burst targeting the subconscious of all life throughout the universe. We simply project an image of a Spermartian death. That way, people will then remember as if they had witnessed it firsthand. After our message is broadcast, we turn it off and never use it again. The technology is lost to most species. But it's not like our engineers are incapable of replicating technology from thousands of years ago. Most of the lesser-developed systems won't even know it's been used, but they will know of our circumstances. Martha pounded the table with both fists. You want Spermartians to be the main antagonists of the next Quinn movie? Interneural tech inevitably leads to the creation of a hive mind, no matter what you wanted or thought would happen. Though, Rupert began, if the technology is truly that easy to replicate, it also seems inevitable that it will be used again. Perhaps it's best if it was us. That's some fucking Dark Lord sounding talk, Martha sighed. No, it's not, Rupert said. I've met several Dark Lords, and none of them said anything like that. They're mostly all just... He was about to say perverts. They're mostly all dumb. And so is this idea. Before the argument could get too heated, Agent Dolomite interrupted. Mr. President, your inauguration ceremony is getting closer. Break for lunch. Who asked the talking slab of sidewalk to butt in? Martha said, before quickly covering her mouth with her hands. I mean... The Karate and Poetry Minister leaned over to the Secretary of State and said, I'm leaking that shit. That's hilarious. Rupert decided that they would reconvene after the inauguration to continue the discussion, without making any final decisions about any of the proposals. For lunch, Rupert planned to eat at his home, that he hadn't been to in over 5 years while interning at the society. Of course, since he hadn't been home in 5 years, there would be nothing to eat inside, but he really wanted to be able to drop his bags off. Something about walking through his front door really made him feel like he was actually home. As he and Dolomite approached the door, he asked, "Dolomite, I'm going to order food. Do you want anything?" "That would be appreciated, Mr. President. The entirely concrete surface of sperm Mars means that I can't absorb any passive nutrients while walking." "No problem. What do you feel like?" "Anything but human food. I had that last night." "Wait, Mr. President, don't move. The door to your home is already open." It was too late. Rupert was looking at his space phone trying to order some delivery Space Orkies kebab, and entered into the house without thinking. Upon entering, he was ambushed by his best friend from the society, the perfectly spherical former Hippolaxian intern, Fur. "I brought you a lunch because I figured you were too stupid to remember to eat," she said with a smirk while she rolled over to the nearby table with a cute little lunchbox. "Oh, come on, I was just about to order—" "Fur, what are you doing here?" "It's your big day, dumbass. Of course I'd be here." "You have time to be here? Don't you have your own inauguration to get to?" "What? No, I just declared myself queen. I've already officially leveled up and moved beyond the whole election and inauguration process." That's cool. We can't do that on Sperm Mars. We even had to have another election because they wouldn't just reinstate me as president following the disbanding of the society. You mean you couldn't because you didn't even try? I always tell you could do whatever you wanted if you just tried a little harder. And, stop being such a bitch. "Thanks, Fur. Mr. President," Dolomite interrupted the moment. "Will you not be needing lunch then?" "Oh, I'm sorry, Dolomite. I can still order kebab if you want." "No, you're home now, so I'll go out and get something while you spend time with your lady friend." "Yeah, thanks. Me and Roop are gonna fuck," Fur said with a wink as she rolled around seductively. "We are not!" Rupert blushed, his whole spermy body changing deep red. "But yeah, sure, the Spermartian taxpayers don't cover your services while I'm at home until I'm officially instated." "I'll be back to pick you up for the ceremony." Rupert proceeded to eat the lunch that Fur had made for him. Inside the lunchbox was a single portion-sized chicken pot pie. Rupert tucked into the pie with a fork, half expecting to pull out something like a live snake or a whole piece of shit, but was pleasantly surprised to find a piece of real chicken, which is the ultimate test of quality for a pot pie. Because if you get a potato or carrot or something disappointing like that right off the bat, you know you're in for a real mediocre pie. He tasted the pie. "I didn't know you could cook." "You should have. I've only told you like 69 million times that I like cooking." Rupert winced. "I'm sorry, I'm just messing with you. I can't cook for shit." "What? No, this is really good." "You're not tired of chicken yet?" "I was hoping that after Cuck the Conqueror punched a hole in you, you wouldn't be able to look at chicken again without having a flashback." "No," Rupert said as he unconsciously touched the scar on his abdomen. "I'm glad we all made it back home. You were really cool, the way you tried to stand up to him." "It was stupid." "Yeah, but it was also cool." "Thanks. Wanna fuck?" "Fur, I swear to Space God." Suddenly, they heard a hovercar horn blaring from outside. Rupert checked the time on his space phone. "That's Dolomite. I guess I didn't consider we would need time to prepare. Guess I can't just show up." "It's cool. I'll see you after the ceremony," Fur said. She winked and then flicked her tongue like she was eating his ass out. "Yeah, see you then," Rupert said, not knowing what she was doing with her tongue because he'd never seen a porn. Rupert left the house and got into the back seat of the hover car out front. The car lifted off the ground and headed in the direction of the inauguration ceremony. "Did you end up getting Space Orc kebab?" Rupert asked. "Space Orc kebab does sound pretty good, but no. I had a chocolate protein shake mixed with ginger and oysters. Gotta keep the testosterone levels up. Don't want to end up a hairless, skinny soy boy like you. Rupert froze and held his breath. He then took a big sniff of the air. It smells like cigarettes and vomit. Is this a taxi? Where's Dolomite? The driver didn't answer. He just kept driving. Where are we going? The inauguration ceremony. There must be 1.5 million Spermartians come to see it. I think capacity is only 250,000. That's fucking fake news, my friend. Now, let me tell you something. You ever heard of a little something called the Zillions Crusade and the Hive Mind Wars? Are you going to kill me? Rupert said, his voice shaking. No, I'm not planning on getting my hands sticky today. Let me out, Rupert asserted, sounding a little tougher since the driver had said he wouldn't kill him. It's your call. The cab pulled over immediately, and the driver unlocked the doors. Rupert stepped out of the cab and collapsed to his knees. In his panic, he'd forgotten to breathe for a couple minutes, though seemingly, just as he had caught his breath again, he finally noticed the street he was standing on was painted bright pink. Look! A female voice called out. Oh my god, it's President Rupert! I'm getting them cummies. Another distinct, I'm sure, sounding female voice followed. Rupert tried to run, but he'd been dropped off in the female-only designated area for the ceremony. Later that evening, the newly unemployed Dolomite drove the Hypolaxian Queen Fur to the spaceport from Rupert's house. Dolomite didn't have the chalkboard face rock plastic surgery that many younger rockmen had, so they were stereotypically very direct with their emotions. He was my friend. I'm inconsolable, they confessed. Then I won't try, Fur said. Do you think it's how he would have wanted to go? Well, I heard that all 1.5 million women at the ceremony are trying to get pregnancy tests, so it couldn't have been that bad. You've consoled me considerably. I think he would be proud to have made such an amazing contribution to Spermartian society. Fur tried to believe that as well. The end.
That was lovely.
Yeah. Lovely?
Oh, yeah.
So that taxi service has more than just that one android guy.
That was the same android that tried to assassinate him before.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know how clear it was before, but but Jalix Jones is also an android like Iggy.
See, yeah. I thought with the voice that you did and calling him a soul boy, I was like, oh, Aries here. Why is Aries in a car?
No. That was
so I was so ready for Aries.
In the other episode. No. Oh man, why would Aries kill him?
No, because I didn't expect Aries to kill him. I was like, oh, Aries gonna give him a hand job on accident? Congratulations, friend. This is the custom of my people.
It does, you know what? Doesn't seem too out of place. Nah, that was Jalix Jones, the android from the League of Extraordinary Assassins, who sometimes pose as cab drivers.
Yeah.
Well, Rupert went out presidentially.
They do like ejaculating all over the street.
Oh gosh.
Apparently, Spermartians are crazy about it.
I just meant presidents. Good wrap up to Rupert's story, you know. Turns out he's not the biggest loser in the universe. Someone on Spermars is. Someone else on Spermars, that is.
Yeah. The new, what is he, Minister of Poetry and Karate? That guy seemed pretty lame.
Yeah, it could be him. I don't know, maybe I'll have to write a story about that.
That might be
the actual biggest loser in the universe.
Homeland security in video games feels like a very American thing, though. I love whatever kind of cultural reference this is.
Was it a Transformers reference or a Fast and the Furious reference with the ongoing movie series?
It's actually setting up a story that I was thinking about writing with the... I mean, it is basically just a too long-running movie series.
Okay.
But, so it could be either one. But I was eventually going to write a story about the Hive Mind Wars. And...
Nice.
The premise for that was going to be like a framed narrative where they were watching one of the movies. Or not a framed narrative. I'd probably just cut to like the movie.
The first one released during the war.
The main actor is a super Martian, so he never dies.
No. I don't know what he is. I wrote his name thinking that that's what I would name the character if I ever got around to writing. The stories about the Hive Mind Wars, but I don't know. Well, thank you guys for listening, and next time we'll have a story by Adam.
That's right.
Right, so like, comment, and subscribe, and click the notification bell, and join the Discord, and I'll see you next time with Adam's story.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye now.